Hello and welcome travelers. Today we're gonna take a look at the Sentinel base class as well as its three masteries, the Paladin, the VoidKnight and the Forgeguard. Now the Sentinel is your basically like classic knight kind of character, right? He fulfills the classic medieval knight fantasy and he has skills inspired from the Paladin from Diablo 2, the Barbarian from Diablo 2 and 3, such as for example the Warpath, which is a spin to win ability, a hammer throw ability, a javelin that he can also throw, as well as melee dash attacks and just normal like melee slash attacks, such as lunge, she rush, writhe, vengeance and multi-strike. It is usually a strength scaling class, but there are also builds that can stack attunement, like especially the Paladins can stack attunement for more healing effectiveness or like more magic damage via attunement. But there are even some skills that also scale with the dexterity, such as the hammer throw, the javelin, lunge and shoot throw. So okay, the Sentinel is like a very classic, mostly melee, knight type of character, with some like Paladin elements here and there. It also can dual wield, with a gladiator node over here, basically become like a berserker in a way, and other than that, that's basically all there is to the base class. Now let's talk about the three masteries. The VoidKnight is all about echoes and void damage for the most part. There are also of course other ways to play this class, but its passives read increased melee void damage, and your melee, throwing attacks and void spells have a 10% chance to be repeated by an echo 0.5 seconds later. You can get up to 40% total echo chance in the skill tree, like in the passive tree rather, and then certain skills will give you a higher echo chance, or even like for example double the echo chance, like for example the Rive that I was using on this VoidKnight here. And as a special scaling attribute to the VoidKnight has usually Vitality. Many of the Void spells, if not all Void spells, actually scale off Vitality, and also some Void melee skills like Rive for example can have nodes that give you more Void damage per point of Vitality. Another theme of the VoidKnight is basically also being able to use the Epoch to its full effect, being able to travel back in time with the Volatile Reversal skill, resetting your health and your mana to where it was 2 seconds ago, as well as anomaly being able to do the same with enemies as well, by 5 seconds. Now the third theme of the VoidKnight is basically being someone that is a void caster, using void spells like for example these devouring orbs, or abyssal echoes, or anomaly, or also the smite skill converted over to void. Now this particular caster right here for example is a so-called void autobomber. This is a version that also was using Javelin. This is a version I made, like basically when this build came out, like, or like not came out, but like when it was possible to finally make a build like this on the very patch on which this was first possible. You also had Javelin in that patch, and you can make Javelin autocast smite for you, this ability right here. And this is an example for a void caster. There are better builds that are similar to this out there that also like use for example skills like abyssal echoes on top. This is just like real quick to showcase you that the theme of a void caster is very much possible as well within the VoidKnight class. Now the Forgeguard is basically all about forging weapons and armors, which are animated and are basically your pets. So if you want to play like a pet-based knight, then the Forgeguard is like what you want to play. As passive bonuses, it has physical and fire resistance, and also it has 3% increased armor for each hit you have taken in the last 10 seconds. So armor is a really like good defensive mechanic that Sentinel class should use in general, and on the Forgeguard, armor is even better, even more efficient. The class also has some shield block related abilities, like for example Stalwart in the base class, Honor in the Paladin class, as well as Steel Aegis and Rallying Block, and then all the Flawless Defender stuff down here in the Forgeguard. So the skills of the Forgeguard also represent this playstyle. It has for example the Forge Strike, which has a 25% chance to summon a forged weapon whenever you hit an enemy with this ability. This is the exclusive ability from this class, so only this class can pick the Forge Strike. However, there are other skills that also allow you to create forged weapons. This skill is kind of funny because you can also make it to look like an anvil, for example, or like a let's see here real quick, like a sword as well. All right, now it's a sword, or now it's a spear. Then also you can throw shields with the shield throw ability. This ability, as well as the manifest armor ability, is not locked behind choosing this mastery actually, so you could use those skills also in other masteries. The way these masteries work is you have like a couple of points that you can choose as long as you are any Sentinel, doesn't matter which class you have, and there are some skills that you can only take if you are that class, like for example, Paladin can only use Judgment, a VoidKnight can only use Anomaly, a Forgeguard can only use Ring of Shields and Smelter's Wrath, and all the passives down here. Now, the other skill would be the Manifest Armor, right? You can like summon this cool armor here, then you can summon a Ring of Shields, protecting you, for example, or like also protecting your allies. And then also you have this Smelter's Wrath ability, like a channel, where you basically like charge up an attack and then release it. Overall, I would rate Forgeguard to be the weakest out of the three classes right now in the 0.9 patch, but that might very well change in the future. So unless you want to play like minions and manifest armors, then it's probably better for you to choose a different class. Now the Paladin is, as you might think, all about like holy stuff. The holy mastery theme is the Paladin right here. There isn't really like any holy damage though in this game, so most of the damage is more like physical and fire themed. Sometimes a bit lightning themed, but usually like fire and physical. It has the Holy Aura exclusive skill that only the Paladin has in the other mastery, which is amazing for multiplayer as well. I would say Paladin is the best class for multiplayer if you want to like play in a group of people. Like if you want to play like a support Sentinel, then Paladin is by far the best. And even if you don't want to support other people, Paladin can be a great damage mastery as well. For things like the Javelin, for hammers, it's like really good to play a hammer then. Or the all new Judgment gloves, which allow you to just like smack the ground without a weapon in your hand. It also has access to the Sigils of Hope, which are actually widely used in many Sentinel builds, not only in the Paladin class necessarily. These Sigils give you like some additional damage or block chance or healing effectiveness, or endurance threshold, depending on like how you spec these, and they can also be like a very, very good like support skill for yourself as well as for your allies. The Judgment skill basically looks like this, like you slam either your fists if you have certain gloves, or just like your weapon in the ground. Looks pretty cool. The Holy Aura, well, just like an aura. And yeah, it's a very solid class. Like if you don't know what kind of Paladin or like what kind of Sentinel to play rather, I would always suggest you to play a Paladin. Paladin is like a kind of like a jack of all trades in a way, and also great for support play. It's not quite as like high skill cap or like high skill ceiling as the VoidKnight, because all the time traveling, like time reversal stuff can sometimes be a little bit overwhelming for a new player, I would say, to get used to. Now when it comes to synergies that this class provides for other classes in the game, what you can basically do is write allies up here in the search function, and you will see over here, shield throw can target and ricochet to allies other than yourself. Allies are granted armor for 4 seconds when the shield throw hits them. And then VoidKnight as well also grants allies stun avoidance when shield throw hits them. Of course, another one would be Holy Aura. As you can see here, if you write allies up here, you basically have every single node like highlighting up. Holy Aura is, as the name already implies, an aura, so it will affect pretty much everyone in your party anyway, with all the buffs it can do, from like giving them elemental resistance, giving them like ignite chance, giving them more attack speed, giving them more physical damage, giving them dodge rating, giving them regen, giving them poison resistance, or like the ability to cleanse ailments as well. When you activate the aura, you can activate the aura to like double the effects of the aura. Then you can also use the Sigils of Hope. These will be able to grant endurance threshold, damage, flat fire damage, which you can convert to void if you want, ignite chance, healing, effectiveness, basically divine flare. It's like another skill that like can heal allies in range. Cleansing light can cleanse ailments as well again. And also this one just makes also Sigils be able to cast on allies. So yeah, Sigils of Hope would be another very nice support skill. Then of course we have the Javelin, or rather the battle standard node inside the Javelin. This will give your allies endurance threshold and damage per point of attunement basically, like depending on your attunement. And also this one will give the standard like an AoE heal as well, which is also really nice. lunge, as weird as it sounds, yes, lunge can actually also be used as a like kind of like supportive ability. For example, over here you give your allies haste based on your distance traveled, or down here you can, I think, yeah, lunge to other allies as well. You can like lunge to other people in your party, and you can also give them haste or heal them. Judgment also has one line with like basically healing for yourself and your allies, as well as like a chance to cleanse, or like 100% chance to cleanse as well, like negative ailments from you and your parties. So again, like basically most of the Paladin skills have tons of like supportive functions in them, and also the shield throw can give your allies like armor and so on. Now, apart from skills, we should also look at passives. Now here again, you could search for anything allies that says like allies, that highlights allies. Again, you will find stuff in the Paladin tree, of course, right? For example, there are divine bolts in the Paladin tree that are able to heal allies, or down here you would have like a holy symbol that could also heal allies. Now, other debuffs that you might want to look out for are, for example, the ability to blind enemies. Paladin has blinding light with a blind chance. This will mean that enemies have a lower chance to crit, and also a way lower chance to like hit their ranged projectiles. There is frailty as a stat as well. Probably not in the class here, no that's not, but you could get it on gear. Chance to apply frailty, chance to apply chill, chance to apply slow. All of those are good debuffs to have on enemies. Another stat would be armor shred. For example, in Armor Sunderer, you have armor shred that you can apply via Void Cleave. This can help out your entire team because armor reduces all flat damage, not only physical, also other. It's a bit less effective against non-physical damage, but it still will reduce all flat damage, all non-dot damage. And also another stat that exists is actually critical strike vulnerability. If you apply stacks of critical strike vulnerability on enemies, then you and your allies all have a higher chance to crit the enemy. So there are tons of basically buffs and debuffs that exist in the game, and Sentinel has a lot of them available to it. It just basically like depends on you which stats you want to apply with your Paladin or like your Sentinel onto your like enemies, depending on like which party you might be running with. There are like different synergies to go for here. Anyway, that's gonna be it for this Sentinel video. Thank you so much everyone for watching, and also special shout out to all my Patreons. If you would like to support this channel, you can become a YouTube member. You can check out my stream on Twitch and sub there if you have Twitch Prime, for example, for free even. And also you can become a Patreon. Down below there is a link for that. And also a special shout out to 11th Hour Games for sponsoring this video. Yeah, thank you so much.